History isn't just being made right now. It is being actively and aggressively manipulated right in front of our eyes. Over the last 48 hours, we have witnessed a paradigm shift in the music and entertainment industry so seismic, so utterly unprecedented, that it has effectively changed the rules of engagement for every single artist on the planet moving forward. Whether you love him, whether you hate him, whether you have completely written him off, what just happened to Kanye West in the United Kingdom is no longer just a celebrity headline or a fleeting piece of internet gossip. It is a terrifying warning. For the very first time in the history of rap music, and frankly, modern pop culture, a world leader has manually stepped into the arena of a commercial music festival to pull the plug on a specific individual. But as the dust begins to settle on the catastrophic cancellation of the Wireless Festival, a much darker, much more complicated reality is emerging. We are realizing that the official story being fed to the public by mainstream media is nothing more than a carefully constructed smokescreen. Today, we are peeling back the layers of what I am calling the global Kanye embargo. We are going to expose the hidden details behind the staggering $15 million ban, the silent but explosive support from one of the most elusive legends in music, and the horrifying legal precedent that should have every single free speech advocate, independent artist, and global citizen looking over their shoulder. Before we dive into the dark, corporate reality of this international ban, do me a massive favor. The algorithm does not like videos that expose these kinds of uncomfortable industry truths. Hit that like button right now to help push this through the system, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all notifications. You are going to need to hear this, because what is happening to you today is the exact blueprint they will use on your favorite artist tomorrow. Let's get into it. To truly understand the sheer magnitude of what just occurred, we have to look at the immediate, ground-level chaos. Wireless Festival is not just another weekend concert. It is arguably the most important, culturally significant date on the United Kingdom's hip-hop and grime calendar. It is an institution. For this year, Kanye West was the undeniable centerpiece. He was the man slated to headline 3 consecutive nights. The tickets were entirely sold out. The massive stage production was already being conceptualized. The global anticipation for his live return was at an absolute fever pitch. And then, the hammer dropped. The UK Home Office, operating under direct, top-down political pressure from Prime Minister, officially revoked Ye's entry into the country. Now, let's pause and look at how the live music industry usually operates. Historically, when a massive headliner drops out of a festival, whether due to illness, legal trouble, or scheduling conflicts, the show goes on. The promoters scramble. They throw a bag of money at Drake, Travis Scott, or Kendrick Lamar, and they find a replacement. The infrastructure is already paid for, so you do whatever it takes to keep the gates open. But this time, the promoters looked at the situation and realized that without Kanye West, there is no festival. The cultural weight of his absence was too heavy. So, they did the unthinkable. They canceled the entire massive event. We are talking about a direct $15 million personal loss for Kanye in guaranteed performance fees alone. But the collateral damage extends infinitely further than Ye's bank account. Think about the thousands of independent food vendors, the local security staff, the staging companies, and most importantly, the dozens of local UK rappers and underground artists who were relying on that specific stage to launch their careers. The UK government effectively decided that silencing one American rapper was completely worth destroying the economic livelihood of thousands of their own working-class citizens. Why? Because the message they are sending is far more valuable to them than the millions of dollars being lost. They are establishing dominance. They are trying to prove that no matter how big your fan base is, the state and the system are always bigger. Right in the middle of this digital execution, an anomaly occurred. Something happened that no one, not the fans, not the media, and certainly not the industry insiders, saw coming. Frank Ocean entered the chat. If you know anything about modern music, you know that Frank Ocean is the undisputed ghost of the industry. He operates entirely outside the standard celebrity ecosystem. He hasn't released a full-length studio project in years. He actively avoids interviews. He despises the paparazzi, and he almost never, ever engages with public celebrity drama. He is the ultimate symbol of quiet, calculated artistic independence. Yet, Frank Ocean chose a specific, highly volatile moment to make his presence felt. by publicly endorsing and liking a scathing, truth-telling rant from comedian Lawrence Johnson. Frank signaled something massive to the world. Lawrence Johnson's video did not just blindly defend Kanye, it aggressively exposed the underlying fear of the corporate music industry. Johnson argued that the major record labels, the legacy tour promoters, and the media conglomerates are absolutely scrambling right now. They are terrified because Kanye has finally shown their hand. He has proven to the world that the traditional gatekeepers are completely obsolete. When an artist with the unassailable integrity and elusive legendary status of Frank Ocean steps out of the shadows to support that exact message, it tells you that a fear within the boardroom is palpable and real. They aren't banning Kanye because he is offensive. Let's be incredibly clear about that. The music industry has funded, promoted, and tolerated highly offensive, violent, and controversial content for over 50 years. They are banning him because he is the first artist of this magnitude to operate outside their jurisdiction, and he is actively showing the next generation of artists exactly how to do the same. Frank Ocean sees the play. To understand why the avalanche of corporate and government hate is raining down on you right now, we have to follow the money. And that trail leads us directly to the numbers behind Kanye's recent SoFi Stadium show. This single event was a historical turning point that terrified the powers that be. In the modern touring industry, an event of that stadium-level scale requires a monopoly like Live Nation or AEG. It requires a massive, deeply entrenched corporate promoter to handle the complex logistics, the multi-million-dollar insurance policies, the venue negotiations, and the ticketing distribution through platforms like Ticketmaster. The industry standard dictates that these corporate entities take a massive, often predatory slice of the revenue for providing this infrastructure. But Kanye West bypassed them completely. He rented the stadium. He handled the marketing. He sold 160,000 tickets directly to his massive, fiercely loyal audience. He generated a staggering $33 million in gross revenue. And most importantly, he kept the money. This event sent a blaring code red siren through the entire executive branch of the global music industry. If the top-tier artists realize that they can actually front the capital to book their own stadiums, sell their own tickets directly to their fans, and manage their own stage production, the entire major label and promoter model instantly dies. The reason all these massive powers are aligning against him right now is simply because they need to stop the flow of uncontrolled dollars. They don't care about his political rants. They care about who gets paid at the end of the night. And right now, the money is bypassing their bank accounts and going directly to the creator. In the corporate world, that is an act of treason. That is the one unforgivable sin that the industry will punish at all costs. Now we have to address the massive, glaring elephant in the room, the ambassadors of hypocrisy. The UK government, the Dutch lawmakers, and the various corporate sponsors who sprinted away from Wireless Festival all boldly claim they are doing this for moral reasons. They claim he is a threat to civil society. But as prominent critics like Anthony Fantino and several truly awake political commentators have pointed out, where's that exact same energy for the actual, verified monsters of our society? We are currently living in a bizarre, dystopian reality where the infamous island visitors, the high-profile billionaires, politicians, and elites heavily linked to the most disgusting, horrific crimes against humanity in our modern lifetime, are still being aggressively protected by the system. Many of these elite individuals live in, work in, and are actively celebrated by the very same UK and US governmental structures that are currently moralizing against Kanye West. There were real, physical victims on that island. There were real, documented crimes that destroyed lives. Yet, the government has not moved with even 10% of the speed, aggression, or resources to prosecute those individuals as they did to ban a musician from performing a set list of rap songs. The Prime Minister of the UK is standing at a podium, acting like an American rapper is the singular biggest threat to the safety of London, while the doors of elite society remain wide open to people with truly horrific, sealed court records. It is the ultimate distraction technique. It is a performative act of fake morality designed specifically to keep the middle class and the youth from looking at the people who actually run the corrupt systems of the world. They desperately want you completely focused and outraged by Kanye's words, so that you never look up and notice their actions. This brings us to the terrifying precedent that is being established right now. If you are sitting at home cheering for this international ban simply because you personally dislike Kanye West or find him annoying, I urgently need you to put your personal feelings aside for just a moment and look at the horrifying legal reality of what is happening. Under what exact legal grounds was he banned from entering the United Kingdom? Did he commit a violent crime on UK soil? No. Did he violate a specific immigration law or overstay a visa? No. He was preemptively banned based on the vague concepts of public interest and controversial rhetoric. This is a massive historic violation of free speech that is reaching an all-time high in the Western world. As a few brave British politicians have correctly warned, if a sovereign nation starts banning individuals from entering a country simply because the ruling political party does not like their opinions, where does that slippery slope end? We are entering a highly dangerous era where the government officially becomes the ultimate arbiter of what art is deemed acceptable and what art is deemed dangerous. If they have the power and audacity to do this, a confirmed billionaire with one of the largest global platforms on earth, what do you think they will do to a small, independent artist who writes an uncomfortable song exposing political corruption, economic inequality, or war crimes? It actually mirrors the exact same rhetoric and industry manipulation that Drake recently tried to weaponize against Kendrick Lamar, and the exact same principles Kendrick stood against when Spotify attempted to arbitrarily remove artists like XXXTentacion from their playlists years ago. When you allow a corporation or a government to scrub an artist from the public square based on subjective morality, it takes all of us down. They are using Kanye West as a global case study to test the waters. They are testing the public to see exactly how much censorship we will tolerate. And the most terrifying part of all, millions of people are actively celebrating it, completely blind to the fact that they are cheering for the construction of their own future prison. If you want proof that this has absolutely nothing to do with morality, let's look at the ultimate paradox. The Universal Music Group, also known as UMG. Here is the most pathetic, undeniable truth of this entire situation. The name Kanye West is only considered a massive problem by the industry when he is the one directly receiving the massive paycheck. Think about the structure of the music business. UMG, the largest conglomerate in the industry, owns the master recordings to Ye's most critically acclaimed and commercially successful early work. We are talking about the college dropout, late registration, graduation, 808s, and heartbreak. These are some of the most heavily streamed and legally purchased albums in the entire world. In fact, Graduation was the fifth most streamed rap album on the planet recently. UMG is quietly making hundreds of thousands of dollars every single day, year after year, directly from Kanye West's intellectual property. If the executives at UMG truly, deep down believed that he was a dangerous, evil, or toxic human being whose art poisoned society, they had the ultimate power to take the music down. They could scrub it from Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube tomorrow. They could refuse to profit off his legacy. But they don't, and they never will. They keep the old Kanye heavily featured on every major editorial playlist. They continuously license the tracks for movies and commercials, and they happily collect the massive royalty checks. The hypocrisy is so thick you could cut it with a knife. They absolutely love the product of Kanye West as long as they maintain corporate ownership over it. They only viciously hate the person of Kanye West when he demands to own himself. This paradox completely destroys the argument that these companies care about morals. They care about their quarterly earnings. They care about control. This corporate sabotage extends directly to the Billboard charts. Look at how the industry has systematically reacted to Ye's recent independent releases, including the highly anticipated Bully album era. For the first time in modern chart history, Billboard has begun implementing obscure rules to virtually stop counting direct-to-consumer sales for certain independent mega artists. This is not a coincidence. This is a highly targeted, surgical strike. Ever since he strategically moved his merchandise and digital album sales exclusively to his own direct website, effectively cutting out the retail middlemen like Target, Amazon, and iTunes, the industry chart rules are being mysteriously adjusted to ensure that he does not organically appear at the #1 spot. It is a genius, albeit incredibly dark, manipulation tactic. If the industry gatekeepers physically cannot stop the fans from buying the music directly from the artist, they will simply rewrite the rules so those sales no longer technically count in the public eye. They are actively trying to gaslight the general public into believing that Kanye's cultural relevance is falling off when, In strict numerical reality, his fan engagement and direct profitability are actually higher than they have been in a decade. It is the manual, systemic suppression of a financial movement. They are quietly stripping away the liberties of independent businesses and setting a horrific precedent for every other creator trying to make a living outside the major label system. And now, the contagion is spreading. We are witnessing this local UK ban rapidly evolve into a synchronized global effort. It is no longer just London. Dutch lawmakers are currently in the active political process of trying to legally ban you from stepping foot in the Netherlands, directly threatening his massive, highly anticipated stadium date scheduled for June. We are watching the formation of a global blacklist happening in real time. We are witnessing the first time in modern history where elected world leaders are explicitly making it their top legislative priority to stop a single musician from playing audio files through a speaker system. Don't you find that profoundly strange? Look at the state of the globe. We are dealing with massive international conflicts, crippling inflation, the terrifying rise of unchecked AI technology, and devastating energy crises. Yet, the absolute biggest front-page concern for these world leaders is a hip-hop artist performing a concert. It is genuinely embarrassing. It violently insults the intelligence of the global public. They are strategically dangling Kanye West in front of the masses as a human shield to avoid taking accountability for the real, systemic issues plaguing their nations. They want us locked in a permanent, exhausting back-and-forth debate on social media about whether we like or hate a celebrity, so we remain utterly blind to the real cycles of horror being inflicted on the world behind closed doors. So, what is the ultimate reality at hand here? We are not just watching a rapper throw a tantrum. We are watching an incredibly high-stakes, multi-billion-dollar game of business chess between a small, fiercely independent team of creators and the entire entrenched global establishment. Despite all the undeniable chaos that he has manifested around his own name, and despite the very real mistakes he has made in the public eye, when you finally look past the deafening noise of the media, you see an individual who is forcibly exposing the pathetic deceit of the entire corporate world. We are witnessing a living, breathing case study in modern suppression and institutional hypocrisy. The world may be actively rooting for the ultimate downfall of Kanye West because they find his actions deeply disagreeable. But I warn you again, be incredibly careful what you wish for. Because what is going to happen on the inevitable day when an artist you love, someone who boldly stands for your exact moral values and champions your exact beliefs, is dealt this exact same ruthless oppression simply because the government doesn't like their message? The establishment has now made it crystal clear. It is perfectly acceptable to silence your opponents. It is perfectly acceptable to maliciously destroy independent businesses. And it is perfectly acceptable to completely ignore the fundamental human right of free speech. As long as a specific target is someone the public has been socially trained to hate, the system can get away with absolutely anything. Now, I turn it over to you, because this conversation is far too important to end here. We've covered a massive amount of ground today, from the devastating $15 million wireless festival cancellation to the shocking Frank Ocean endorsement, all the way to the blatant, money-hungry hypocrisy of Universal Music Group and the Billboard charts. I need to know your unfiltered thoughts in the comment section below. Do you genuinely believe the UK Prime Minister was completely right to protect the public interest by banning him? Or do you agree that this is a terrifying beginning of a new dark era of global censorship? Can we separate the art from the artist? Or has the industry finally found the ultimate loophole to crush independent creators forever? This is without a doubt one of the most critical discussions we have ever hosted on this channel, and I want to see a real, highly intelligent debate down below. Keep it respectful, back up your points, but do not hold back your true opinions. If you made it to the very end of this deep dive documentary, you are part of the elite 1% of viewers who actually care about the truth behind the headlines. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your ongoing support. It means everything to an independent media channel like this one. Please, do not forget to leave a massive like on the video. Hit that subscribe button for our next major update on the Bully Independent Tour, and I will see you all in the next one. Oh, and if you want to see exactly how the music industry was already secretly plotting this exact takedown months ago, long before the Wireless Festival was even a public conversation, you need to click and watch this video right here on the screen. The hidden connections will absolutely blow your mind. See you there.